Well, afternoon. I'm telling you that it looks really nice outside, and I opened the sliding glass door to get some refreshing air because it looks like there's like a little bit of a breeze outside, and it is nothing but fire fury. I would say one of the positive things about being stuck at home is that I don't have to go outside. Yeah. Um, it's just kind of crazy, this whole situation. I just could not imagine in my wildest dreams that this would ever happen to me. I don't know. Part of me is kind of humored by it all, and the other part of me is really mad. So I am definitely going to seek therapy because I feel like it has triggered a lot of things in my head, and I need to stay on top of that. It's also the meds because the meds really make me super depressed and suicidally thoughtful, which I just feel like I can't take anymore. So I want to get that checked out for sure because I just can't. I'm not normally that kind of person. Like, you guys have known me for a long time now, or even if you're just beginning to watch, I am on PD dialysis now for almost 5 years. I have lived life beautifully. Like, I've been living my best life is one of my hashtags because it's like, yeah, it's a drag and yeah, it's a change, but it doesn't make me so depressed. Mostly because I want to prove to everybody that just because you have kidney disease doesn't mean your life is over. That's always been my thing. And this medicine is just freaked out my system. So I don't know. Everything was so good before the surgery. So I don't know. I'm still not unclear about like what happened exactly. I'm hoping that when I go to see the doctor who performed the surgery, so the surgeon, that he'll be able to say, okay, here's what happened. Here's any complications. And I'm pissed that the place that I went to have the surgery at didn't say anything. And they didn't tell me any recovery information either. And that makes me really mad because it's like, had I known, I would have had some type of ballpark idea of how to deal with all this. Like, if they would have said, hey, by the way, you're going to be bedridden for like 3 weeks, be ready for that. I could have been ready for that. But no, being a very strong, independent woman who loves Donnie, but also is a mom and a grandmom and so many things, I was not mentally prepared to be grounded. So, I don't know. But every day's better. So that's just what I'm going to take it. It took, I probably should have went to the doctor sooner, but I could not get down the steps. Like, I could barely stand. The thought of hitting bumps in the car terrified me. And we live in an apartment complex, so we have speed bumps. I was like, no. As much as I love Dottie, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna. Oh my God, I cannot even imagine trying to do that. Even going down the steps, I could not imagine. I could barely go to the bathroom. That's how bad. Like, to squat to sit on the toilet. Horrific. Anyways, today I'm going to have ramen, which is a weird food for me to eat because I'm typically not a ramen girl, even though I do pho. I feel like pho is like such a healthy food. I don't have the energy to make pho. I also find that I probably Americanize it quite a bit because pho is actually supposed to be pretty bland soup with lots of flavors that come out, whether it's the noodle, the vegetable, or the meat product inside of it. I tend to take it way further, and I'm not so necessarily aiming for those flavors, but more like the broth. But that takes a little while, like I really should, boil some chicken and use that chicken broth, and then throw everything in. It's a process, even though for me it's very simple because I've made it for so long. But today, I actually ordered 2 packets of ramen because sometimes when I have Charlie unexpectedly and I need to feed him, he'll eat ramen noodles. Not so much the soup part, but just the noodles themselves. So I decided, well, today I think I'm going to eat some of that because it feels nourishing it's a comfort food, I guess, because I think anybody who gets sick is just like, could I have ramen? Where for me, it's typically, could I have pho? Which I was going to say is I would like to order pho, but it's not the same because their focus is more on those other things. And traditionally so, like that's the way you're supposed to have it. I really like a nice chicken brothy flavoring. So I actually add chicken bouillon. I think it's Knorr. It's called Knorr. It's Knorr. Into my pho. So I'm sure people are like, oh my God, you're destroying it, but I do add a little bit of that in there just to make that broth kick in. But ramen's so much easier to make. It's fast. I don't make it in the microwave either because I don't like to cook stuff in the microwave. Once in a while I'll do like warm up a cup of coffee. But really overall I'm like, I'd rather just cook it on the stove, which is what I did. I threw some green onions in it, and then we'll see what happens for the rest of the day, because typically I'm good. Like I'll eat around this time, maybe around 1 o'clock, because I think right now it's almost noon, so I'll eat a little bit, and then we'll see what happens, because sometimes I get, it's interesting because I don't get hungry. Like I think about the food, which is probably an addictive behavior because I'm actually not hungry. Like my stomach is not growling for food, but I think about food. So I figure, and I feel like there's that food addiction that starts to happen with everybody. Because, I know like some people be like, well, it's noontime, we need to eat lunch. And it's like, well, are we really even that hungry? It's such a weird habit, or it's a weird thought to think of because it's so habit. You eat breakfast, you eat your lunch, you eat your dinner. But back in the day, we didn't eat that way. So, I don't know. Plus, doing the dialysis, I have to make sure that I'm not over-consuming, which I'm not. But I'm not really even that hungry. But I do have to take my vitamins still. So I'm going to do that with the ramen. And then that way I'll have that in my system. And then if later on I feel a little hungry, I'll just be very mindful on what I eat, because I don't want to consume a whole bunch of junk just because I can, or just because I'm thinking about it, which is hard on Tuesdays. I'll have to share this because typically Monday Donnie has band practice, and then Tuesday he comes home after work, and then Wednesday we have the jam, and then Thursday is band practice, and then Friday who knows where we're at. Although going through this whole situation, I've not gone to see him play anywhere because I don't think I can stand or sit for whole gigs. I have to lay down. In fact, I know I can't because I can't get down the steps. So I feel like I feel sad because I'm missing out, but at the same time, I know that it's better that I miss out now. And it's a little easier because it's so hot outside. I don't have to deal with that. Because some of the shows are outside. I'm like, Tucson is crazy. Even though they try to advertise like, oh, we'll use fans and misters and all this stuff. And I'm like, it's still hot. But nonetheless, I feel like I want to eat with him on Tuesday night, so by the time he gets home, sometimes we're not eating until like 8 o'clock at night. I don't feel like that's a good situation for my body because I really haven't done anything to burn it off. And I'm not necessarily hungry with the stomach growling, saying that my system's empty. So I just have to be mindful of all of that. But I will say we have eaten quite a bit of burritos, like carne asada burritos, or I like steak and egg burritos, and typically they're only about like they're a couple bucks. And typically I'll just eat my half maybe. And then either eat the other half the next day, or I'll go ahead and just give it to Dottie to eat. So, but the appetite's coming back in that I'm okay with eating food, even though I'm not like super hungry. So there's that. I'm just trying to continuously stay mindful on what I'm doing, because my dialysis is working, but I can't take advantage of it. I really need to heal up so that I can be back to where I was before this whole thing happened. So I tell you, surgery is not, and I wish, here's my truth. The surgery itself was great because it did fix the pinching feeling and the pulling feeling that was inside me. But I wish that they had taken time to say, here's your recovery. Here is what happened. Here's your recovery. Invested more time because of the dialysis, and not just been like, okay, you're fine, good, all right, talk to you later, bye. So I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good day. Bye-bye.